What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. Happy Easter to those of you who choose to take your Mongols live. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me is Steve Mattiace and Josh Brokaw. Steve, is it bright in your house? What's the shade?
No, I'm just like trying to give my eyes a rest after as awful as that picture was and how bright it was last night. Okay, the gag's over.
We will broadcast that bad?
Yes. It was. It really was. Yeah. I think I messaged you guys that my middle son was watching it with me, and he was like, "What kind of camera are they using? This looks like something from the 80s with like a handheld camcorder at times. Like it was just really, really bad."
That's funny.
So yeah, gentlemen, we're gonna get to the game here in a second. Steve, did you do anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, a couple fun things. Starting Thursday, took Thursday off, went down to Cooper's Rock State Park down in West Virginia and went hiking there. One of the fun things was like seeing how different parks are in West Virginia than in Pennsylvania or like New York and Ohio, which are places where I spent a lot of times in parks. And so, super cool place to hike. Parked right by Cooper's Rock, walked out, looked at the overlook, and then hiked out to Ravens Rock. And then some gardening yesterday with the nicer weather. So looking forward to having things start to grow.
Good. We started some seeds, and we now need to build some boxes, raised bed boxes. Mm-hmm. So that's probably on my to-do list for next weekend so that we can start getting that stuff in the ground as soon as it's ready. But definitely looking forward to doing some gardening. Yeah. Josh, you look like you got some sun, man.
Yeah. It was, as you saw from the game, it was really bright on our end of the field, our side of the stadium, I should say. So sun blasting on me the whole game, and it got a little bit of sun. I don't think I'm burnt, but definitely got sun.
Yeah. I want to talk about the road trip down that you guys all took. You guys look great on screen. But first...
And now, hey, sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
Well, that was a bummer. I think that if we would have played the way that we played in the final, 15 minutes, the entire game, or even most of the game, we wouldn't have lost. Maybe it would have been a draw. Fine, I'll take it. But we certainly wouldn't have lost. And also, Luke Biasi, 10 out of 10 in my book. I don't think that second yellow, I think it was all simulation. I don't think he touched the player. And also, let's bring some wrestling into soccer. Why not? I'm here for the team. I will always support the Riverhounds. They're my jam, but good night. They're making it just more challenging this season. I understand it's been a lot of games. I understand you're on the road. I get it. And also I don't get it. Like, try harder. Who remembers soccer better? Soccer better.
This has been Hey Sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
So a lot to unpack there, which I'm sure we will over the course of this conversation. Laura Ellen was catching some heat for her comments during the show that we did, the prediction show, where I guess she was calling out Randolph a little bit from the Open Cup game. So people not a fan of that. So let us know what you think in the comments, or if you're watching this live, you can feel free to chat with us and maybe we'll put your comments up on screen. Josh, back to the trip. We were talking a little bit off air. You went down with a pretty decent contingent of the Steel Army. There was a Houndsy episode that was actually recorded in the van on the way there. I mentioned I listened to the first half. I need to get to the second half, but it sounded like an entertaining ride down. So how was the trip?
It was good. Yeah, it's been my first away trip with the Steel Army in a long time because I hadn't been able to do in the van trips that we've had the last couple of years. So this is my first van trip with them and had a blast. It was 12 people in a van. And then we also had a huge contingent driving separately, including people who don't live in Pittsburgh anymore, but this was closer, so they were able to come to this game. So I think we had 40 people in the stands over in our section. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was even some people that I guess there's some Hounds fans who go to games more often over there because they live so close that they go to those
Mhm.
games, and they had their Hounds gear on. They were sitting on the other side of the stadium, so we saw a smattering of Hounds fans in other sections as well. So it was a good trip. Made a stop at Wegmans, so we got some Wegmans pizza.
Nice.
I think that might be my first time at a Wegmans. I don't know. It just looked like a fancy giant eagle. I'm just saying.
It's way better than Giant Eagle.
Whatever.
No,
Had a second
it's
floor,
so much
big deal.
better.
But yeah, so we did that. But overall, if you haven't listened to Houndsy, the second half of the podcast, there was a storm that rolled in as we were, driving home, and so they're recording during a giant wind's really heavy. It's whipping the van around. The rain's coming down super heavy. So we're going a couple miles an hour, and just there they are in the front recording the podcast while all this is happening.
I mean, poor Ariana and Liz, it sounds like they had a heck of a time getting home from the Battery game too. So you guys just not having a lot of luck getting home from these away games.
Yeah. So it was fun though. It was a fun trip. I'm glad I did it, and I can't wait for the next one.
So Josh, I'll start with you on takeaways. Your Dogs of War came out Friday morning, where you basically said we're the Hounds and they're Loudoun, and that's just what it is.
You know what? That's the risk with Hounds of War. Hounds of War is full send. You have to be completely confident. You can't be we're gonna lose or this might be a rough game. It's no, this is the Hounds. We're gonna win.
Yep.
And sometimes the Hounds don't win. Sometimes. So yeah, this was definitely one of those situations where going into it, I wouldn't say I was as confident going in as I was in that Dogs of War video, but I definitely thought there was going to be a good game. And I do think actually from the stands, I thought the game was actually pretty decent for the Hounds. Obviously some things didn't go their way. And I think a lot of things that didn't go their way were bad officiating. I know that's a lame thing to blame. I'm not saying it's all that, because it definitely wasn't. It was on the Hounds that they didn't get a point out of this game, or 3. But that first goal, that was not a goal. We were right there, dead center, where the ball was passed. So we're where the line judge should have been if he wasn't slow. So we were right there where the ball was kicked, and he was way off. You can see it in the camera for the replays, but being actually centered with him, it was extremely off. So we were just surprised they didn't blow the whistle right there and then. It's oh, we're still playing? What's going on? Fortunately, the Hounds were also confused why they were still playing, which is one thing for me to be that way, not for them. So
yeah. The officiating, there were a number of times. I mean, we won't spend too much time on this, but there was one moment in particular where we got awarded a set piece, and they would consistently stand right in front of the ball, which you're air quotes allowed to do. But if we take the set piece and it hits you and you're not 10 yards away, that's a card. And literally we had the chance, and I forget who it was, the player wouldn't move. And so we took the set piece and it bounced off them, and the ref just kind of waved his hand just play on. And it's wait, dude, that's it's in the rule book. You can't, this isn't a judgment call. It's if he tells you to wait to take the kick, that's a different story. Mm-hmm. There's none of that. You put the ball down. If he stands there, you kick it at him. It's a card. Done.
Yep.
Yeah. Steve, give me a takeaway.
One shot on goal is just not good enough. Yes. Okay, fine. 7 shots on the night, but one of them was on goal. And I don't know what the answer at this stage is. And it seems like Bob doesn't know what the answer is either, because you had Larson, or you had Jackson on the bench. We haven't seen a sign of Larson in 3 games. And so the offensive option is Pablo. And that's not to malign Pablo at all, but you're talking about a kid who is not actually on a professional contract, as the one guy that Bob has used frequently as the attacking forward substitute for the past few games. And so Bob has to go and figure out something different. He's got to figure out some way to get Augie in better positions and get him shooting more. And we've got to see better on that, because how are you going to win games, right? This game could have easily been a 1-0 Hounds win if we had been better on the other side of the ball. But if that ball gets saved, and it took a first-year player to score that on a ridiculous kick, right? It wasn't like it was a good team goal. It was a great goal, but I don't know how we win games in the next few weeks if we are not finding ways to score.
I don't get it because everyone looked like they were playing scared. They were constantly passing the ball instead of taking a shot on net. Like at least take shots. Like you said there was 7 shots, only 1 on on net, but at the same time it's like I wanted to see more shots because they just weren't doing it. Like everyone was afraid they would back pass it, they would pass it out to the sides when we were already in the box. It's like, what are you doing? Just at least try to shoot it. Too many times that's exactly what would happen. It was they would look like they would have even like a little bit of a shot. I'm like, oh, just go for it, and then they would just like, nah, I'm gonna pass it over. And it's like, come on, guys.
I mean, we had 20 touches in the box compared to Loudoun 16, right? Like we were the team that was doing more in the box, but it was not good, like production. So.
I mentioned at one point right before Garcia scored that I was itching for someone just to put their foot through it. But this gets back to something we've talked about before, and that is Bob prioritizes higher chance shooting opportunities. And so I wonder how much of this is going through the players' minds when they do get in good positions is, do I shoot it? Or is there a better person? Is there another pass I should be making? Is there a cross I should be making that puts us into that higher I'm doing air quotes, higher percentage shooting opportunity? And as soon as Garcia scored, I was like, that was beautiful. Is Lily going to be happy because he shot it from 3 yards outside the box and it wasn't a air quotes higher percentage shooting opportunity? At some point, the guys just need to take the game by the balls and just say, I'm doing it, like, period. And that felt like that's what happened in that moment.
I mean, we did have this conversation in the last game where there were some angry moments where they should have passed the ball to the open guy, but that's different. This wasn't passes to people that were open. It wasn't like, oh, this guy has a better shot on goal. It was literally like, I'm too afraid to take this shot, so I'm going to pass it back. And then they're going to pass it, and they're going to pass it, and they're going to pass it, and then we're going to lose our opportunity because everyone's in the box and it's congested, and there's no more opportunity to take that shot. So it's just like I would like to see some more just risk and take those shots. That many touches in the box, that's not a good thing. That's a terrible thing. If you're taking that many touches in the box, that means you're not getting rid of the ball and trying to do a shot. Like, it was just frustrating.
So like you brought up the conversion rate, right? And yes, it's early in the season, but the Hounds are pretty consistent year over year, and are almost always hovering at that like 18.5, 19, 20. Right now they're at 20% conversion rate, but they've only scored 6 goals. They've taken 30 shots in these opening games, right? And so I think the other thing for me that's really frustrating with that is we have a different system this year. And so we're getting more opportunities to have the ball in the box than I think we've ever seen, but it's not working to improve the aspect of us getting actual shots on goal. And it's making us a little more vulnerable in defense. And so if you're trading off that defensiveness, right, like with last year's system, we might not have given up either of those goals, but we're playing a more open system. It is a system that is built to be more attacking, but yet we're not seeing the progress in the attack. And that's what I think is why it's so concerning to me.
Yeah, I mean, all of the conversations that we had in the offseason with the team and the coaches, it was all pointing toward this idea of we want to have more control of the ball. We want to have more possession. We did in this game. It translated into nothing. Like, so I feel like there's still this additional bridge that we need to cross where we're now converting that possession into more active scoring opportunities. I mean, Augie did have a run where he kind of hit it, but he kind of also muffed it and it kind of just rolled to the keeper. And I think it feels like every episode we're coming on here and we're trying to talk about Augie and what's going on with Augie and what do you do with Augie. And I still kind of feel like at this point you can't take him out. I feel like you kind of have to wait until Jockeson is in to kind of see how the two kind of balance each other out. And then if it's still not working, now we've really got a problem. But I don't know what you do from an offensive point. I mean, you have Griffin and Mertz who are trying to cover the entire field and try to make something happen there. If we look at the lineup, I mean, one of the big questions we talked about on the prediction show was Etu going out injured in the Open Cup match. That opens the door for somebody else to step in. In this case, we start with Dick in goal, Biasi, Suber, Asumanu, and Perrin Barnes make his second start. He started in the Open Cup game. I thought he looked decent in this game. And then you had Walty and Sample as your holding mids, Mertz, Griffin, and Borgie as your attacking mids, and then Augie up top. I don't know. Josh, give me another takeaway.
I do think that goal from Garcia was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like that, but rewatching it after the fact, but watching it in person, it was like, holy crap, I can't believe he got that shot off and actually went in. But rewatching it, the replays and everything like that, it was just a really good shot. I thought like it was impressive that he had, the guts to take that shot. And I personally don't think Bob's going to be upset that he took the shot. It's not like, he saw his opportunity, he took it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it was just good. I'm just happy to see it. It was also really cool. That was his first, and that he came on and it made that big of a difference. So happy for him. Yeah.
Steve, another takeaway.
Luke Biasi playing physical. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, the first one, obviously a yellow, right?
Yeah.
That second one, and it wasn't a second yellow. It was a straight red.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, to me, that is a really harsh red. That he's going for the ball. The other player's going for the ball. It's not like his foot was excessively high. I mean, it was about waist level. If the player has got their head that low, I just feel like you've got to use a little bit better judgment as the official to say, look, he's not trying to play a high boot. Like, they're both going for the ball. It's incidental. Maybe you call it back for a foul, fine. But to give a straight red on that to me was just like, I feel really, really bad for Luke because I don't think he should have been out at that point in the game.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even think it should have been a yellow, to be clear.
Yeah. As we were writing, I think we talked about this before, the player ratings that we post over on Substack, we do over the course of the entire game, and they change a lot over the course of the entire game. And I think at that time, I forget what the rating was that I had for Luke, but I had in parentheses, wrestling moves, 10 points, just nailed it for the first yellow. Let's just make fun of it. And then when he got the foot high, I was like, oh, that's probably a joke in bad taste. So we should probably remove that and not include that in the ratings. I agree. I think that there was a lot of acting on the part of the player. I don't think his foot made contact with the guy's head. So I do feel bad about it. It'll be interesting to see what happens now in the next game and how this works, because technically the next game is a Jägermeister Cup game in Detroit. So is Luke actually allowed to play in this game, or does he have to wait? And can he play in this game and have to miss the next home game against, I think, North Carolina at the end of the month? We'll try to get some clarity on that. I'm guessing that maybe that means Max Broughton steps in and plays that spot. We don't really have an out-and-out other left back, I don't think. So it's a bad time to lose both Biasi and Etu, obviously. I don't think we want to go to Detroit and lose our first game of the Jägermeister Cup. That's not great. Just not great overall. I feel bad because you're right. Biasi is probably our most passionate player, definitely our most physical. Tries to lift the team through some of that physicality, but the straight red was definitely harsh.
Yeah.
So, what else, guys? What other takeaways we got from this one?
Segra Field in general, not great. I didn't think the turf actually looked as bad as I was expecting it to look. I don't know how it looked on camera. There was this weird, I pointed out to one of the coaches who is for the academy, not their academy, one of the academies around there. I don't know if it's the one that owns them now. Oops. But he said that he's never really noticed it, but it looked like the whole field kind of humped in the middle, almost like it was folded, airplane style, you know what I mean? We're long ways, and it was there was a whole hump through the whole middle of the field. So that was interesting, but overall, not nearly as bad as we've seen bad turf, and this was not as bad. So I don't even think we can blame it on, the facilities.
Yeah. It's rough. We talked a little bit about the article from The Athletic during the prediction show, and it's. I feel bad because it's not a great situation in Loudoun. I was literally watching the game with my family, and my wife was like, why are there so few people there? And we were sort of explaining things, and it's, close to DC, and DC, the whole situation, just a bit of a mess. Mm-hmm. I feel for the players most of all, because they're kind of stuck. And so, kudos to them for doing as well as they have been. But the league in general needs to take a hard look at teams like this and be like, what are we doing? Maybe drop them down to League One, do something to give them a lifeline, because they're just not, they're not going to be able to make it.
That's actually an interesting part. If they are dropped below what league they are, they lose that stadium. Part of the deal for that stadium was they had to be a League Two team, which is also why they had to get rid of DC United. The reason why they're not still affiliated is because DC United plays the two teams all play in a league or tier 3. So that's why they stopped being affiliated. So
interesting.
Womp.
Interesting. One of the takeaways that I had was I still don't understand why we're making the subs that we make. It feels like sometimes we're just putting bodies on. The biggest thing for me was we're losing 2-1 in the 88th minute, and we're the one that's making subs. Do you really think that taking off Barnes and Mertz to put on Pablo and O'Toole is going to make an offensive impact in the 88th minute? And if you do, why are you waiting till the 88th minute to do it? It was just running the clock down. And so do you have that little confidence in us making sure that it's not a 3-1 game instead of 2-1 game? I don't know. That's one area that I'm still kind of scratching my head with Bob, where it's just
I completely agree with your assessment of the very late subs. And this isn't the first time we've seen that. But I think there's a bigger conversation, and we've talked about this, I think, a little bit already this season, of the logic of the subs that Bob makes when he makes them, just to me is mystifying. But it goes back to the player selection that he has on the bench. Part of that is injuries, and I have questions about why people are getting injured so much before they even step on the field. But I don't think that's this show conversation. But I think you were talking about it earlier, and I wanted to chime in and say, no, that's on Bob, because Bob needs to, as Laura Ellen would say, do better in the offseason and give himself more options. The fact that we are waiting for Jacqueline to be on the field to see if that unlocks Augie is problematic, right? Bob needs to do better and have more options than just a couple of guys. And we've seen this year after year after year, where he might have his one go-to guy, and then, especially at forward, and then a lot of the other players are guys that are complete unknowns or new players or guys that don't actually show up. And so for me, that's where these subs, both in this game and in previous games, are just they're mystifying, but they're also, Bob, this is what you've done to yourself. You don't have options. So what else are you going to do?
We literally had this conversation 3 or 4 games ago, where it was oh man, look at our bench. And I literally said, I was just wait till we get to midseason, and we're going to be where is our depth on the bench? It's not even midseason. It's 6 games in, and we're what the frig happened?
Can we go back to that comment from Mondo of the holiday appropriate terminology he is using?
Yeah. So Mondo just posted in the chat, this is literally the second season in a row where all our eggs are in a single striker's basket. So and then he said correction third, but Deekwell was hot. He's not wrong. We tend to go in and say this is our guy, and fingers crossed it all works out. And then if it doesn't, you're kind of stuck riding that guy and hoping that eventually the ship corrects itself.
I mean, that's kind of been Bob's entire time in Pittsburgh. I mean, it was Brett, it was Dos Santos, it was Dequa, right? Russ was the one player I think that came in that was a little bit different.
Yeah, but I would also say we usually had a pair up top, and the pair Like we would have one person we would consider the star striker, but we would still have a pair of forwards up top that, could make something happen. It's just that sometimes that pairing always felt like only one person was carrying their weight. But now we don't even have that. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't understand having Jackson on the bench if he can't play. And obviously he couldn't play, because if he could have played, he would have been in this game. Like, I don't think you make, you don't decide the sub in Pablo if Jackson is healthy enough to play, and especially if he can't play for 5 minutes, because that's all Pablo got was 5 minutes on the field. Yep. So if that's the case, why isn't Jackson coming in? And if he can't come in because he's still not healthy enough, which is fair enough, then he shouldn't be traveling. Like, I know our bench is short right now, so like we didn't even use our full bench. I think we left one person available, 2 people available that we didn't travel with. We could have brought another, keeper if we really wanted to. We have 3 of those. We didn't bring all 3. So like, I don't understand if you're just bringing people to take up space on the bus or whatever. I don't get it. So the fact that Jackson traveled and didn't get any minutes, it's baffling to me. Like, that's just stupid.
My guess is that Bob had him on the bench in the event that the Hounds were up and he could trot him out just to get him some playing time, or if the Hounds were still chasing the game at 75 minutes. And because it was 1-1, he decided not to make a substitution and left him there. And then when they went down, he had to then decide what to do. And is he going to throw him on for 8 minutes as opposed to 15 or 20 minutes? I don't know. Like, that's purely guessing of what it could be, right? Like, I think that's part of it, though, that I just don't get the logic of the decisions Bob is making with the subs.
And that goes back to the whole thing with bringing on Pablo at all in O'Toole. It's just like, I don't. Why do that sub? Why? It just, the decision making doesn't make sense, and I'm not even willing to say, or I'm even willing to say that maybe I just don't get it. I just, I wish I could, because it's right now it seems like a stupid decision. And were they injured? I didn't notice if Mertz was
Barnes,
limping at all, or I don't think he was. I think he was fine. And even if he wasn't, like, if it's only 5 minutes of stoppage time, pretty much, and just we're already down, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You saying bring another keeper, it just made me think for a hot second of what Jacob Randolph would look like subbed in as a center back. Like, that might be pretty amazing. It's not going to happen, but you're right.
Not?
Why not? I mean, it does make you wonder, like, does Pablo have amazing frequent flyer miles or something? Like, why is he always being included and other guys aren't?
I'm not even upset that Pablo's getting minutes, and I'm upset that he's getting meaningless minutes that are definitely not even helping him out. It's like, I can't even see it as being like we want to give the academy kid or some time before he goes off to college, just to get him in there. It's like, no, because he's not even playing enough to get really anything out of it. Like, at least put him on in like the 75th minute or something like that and let him play for 15.
By the time he's warm, the game's over.
Exactly.
So, yeah, agreed. Guys, one of the prevailing kind of conversations that's been happening over the past few games is just, we had sort of a horrendous start last season, and it sounds like the team is very quick to defend. Like, yeah, but this isn't last season. Like, we're doing a lot better. Look at our point total. Well, just to kind of do that comparison, after 6 league games, we have 7 points. Last year we had 5. So statistically, we are 2 points better, but we're not far off. So yeah. And I think after those 6 games, we actually had a turnaround last season where we started winning a few. So if we don't, we could end up starting last season better than this season, which I don't think any of us would have expected when this season started, based on everything we had seen, based on everything we had heard. It feels like outside of the midfield and potentially the keeper position, there's a lot we still need to work out in terms of solidifying this team and making it potent. And when we're going up against teams like Loudoun that are coming out red hot, when we're going up against teams like the Battery who seem to have it together, Louisville's on the horizon. I mentioned we got Detroit in the Jägermeister Cup this weekend. Like, these other teams are waiting around. So like we got to get on board. Otherwise we're going to find ourselves in a deep, deep hole.
Yeah, I think we need loans. That's where I think we're at right now. Because if we have this many injuries, and it looks like we still do, if we're not getting Jackson back in the next game, if we're not getting these little pieces that we have, even in the back line, we need to get some people on loan, and that's just it is what it is. It sucks, but I would be happy with some short-term loans.
Yeah. Steve, were you going to add something?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, yes, you can look at the points totals, but you have to also look at how those points came. That last year, the Hounds started 0-3 and then got 2 draws and then won that 6th game. And then they won a few games in a row after that. Whereas this, we've only won our home games. At least in the league, right? Like, and it wasn't a convincing win on Tuesday against a very, very young Columbus 2 team, right? Like, so that doesn't inspire that we can win on the road, because I don't think that's a team that's at the level of USL Championship. And so if you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, we've had 4 games on the road, but yet we have picked up no point or 1 point from that, right? Like, that's not good.
Yeah. Guys, any sort of final thoughts here before we have to pick our top 3 players in this one?
Oh man, we have to do that. It was weird for me to watch Pedro Santos playing professional soccer still. I think he is. I was trying to look up his age real fast, but he's up there. He's 36 years old, and it's not like he plays that defensively. He was definitely up there doing stuff. So I was like, wow, I can't believe he's still playing. I just know him because he used to play for the Columbus Crew for many years. So
yeah, good on those old guys who are still younger than all of us. So
still gonna call him old. It's old for soccer. This is
right.
Old in soccer years.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do Mondo's moment, and then we will get into trying to pick our top 3 from this one.
It's time for Mondo's moment, the top moment of the game from the Mandalorian.
This week's Mondo moment seems to be a growing trend amongst Hounds players, as Jorge Garcia scores an absolute worldie from outside the box for his first professional goal. Congratulations, Mr. Garcia. We look forward to more.
This has been Mondo's moment. Go Hounds.
So agreed. Definitely looking forward to more from Garcia, especially if he can produce goals like that. So good shout there from Mondo. Does Garcia make either of your top 3 for this one?
He is the only one that I feel like actually did anything that I feel positive about in this game. That's not to say other players that I feel negative about everybody else, but he's the only player that after watching the game, I feel like I'm happy with what I saw from him for the time he was on the field.
I feel like he came on, and I don't know if he's in my top 3. I have a feeling after talking to you guys, he probably will be. But I felt like he was one player that got subbed on and did what you'd expect a sub to do, and that's make a difference in the game. It wasn't just the goal. He was getting himself into positions and being a menace and doing a good job. So, yeah, I thought he had a good game. Josh, what are your thinking? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? I can't.
What are I thinking?
Words thinking... hard. Yeah.
No, he has to be. I mean, he's in the top 3. I would probably even say first, because I don't think anyone else deserves to get 3 points out of this as far as our standings go for the season. So it was a great goal. He came in with passion and he did the deed. So that counts for a lot in my book.
Yeah. Are you guys both saying Garcia won for you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who else could argue for, is there an argument for anyone else? I would love to hear.
I don't think so. No. I mean, I was struggling to try to figure out who else I thought separated themselves. I know that the team said that Suber was the player of the match, and I was like, that feels a little generous, but I did go back. I did not know. We've been doing this for literally 10 years. I did not know that you could go onto the USL site click into the game and actually see individual stats for individual players on that page. I was always like, where are people getting these stats? These stats are great. Where are you getting them from? They're right there. I'm an idiot. That's what
Well, no, but Mike, that assumes that they are actually updated the day after. Sometimes it takes like 4 days. So
this is true.
Yeah.
But I will say that when I went back and looked at it, Suber did have the most passes on the team. Now, you could say, again, we talked about possession versus actually doing something with it are two different things, but he also did win all 8 of his ground duels and all 4 of his aerial duels. So anytime the ball got near him, he won it, which was good. I felt he was a little bit slow to get to that cross on the first goal, but like I don't entirely blame him either.
I thought the Substack rating comment on him about that goal, like he was the one player that I think in that defense that I actually thought kind of did his job. And it was that Osamano lost his man. Barnes didn't catch the man. And Borgi just like let the guy run free, right? Like it defending is a team thing, and he had his man and he had him. And so I don't expect him to cover 3 guys. He had his hands full in the middle of the box. So I guess I could put him in the top 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. There was, like I said, it's really hard for me to really have anyone rise up in this game. I mean, Mertz had an okay game. I mean, Walty is still probably, I could definitely argue for him. He ran his butt off this game, and I thought he did a great job trying to keep everything together, but just you can only do so much. So
yeah. I was going to throw out Barnes, but Steve, you mentioned Barnes sort of let his guy free on that first goal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he had to cover for Osamano's mistake, but I still need to see him do better to put him in the top 3 for a game.
So who's our third then?
I have no idea. I was really hoping you two would be able to come up with 2 other people.
I was gonna say Walty or Mertz. Like I felt like Mertz's dead balls were still pretty good. It felt like he was trying to cover a lot of the field, less passes to no one than in previous games.
And I thought his service was good. So I mean, he's doing what he needs to be doing. I feel like. So I would say Mertz. I could just as easily make an argument though for Walty.
Yeah, I feel like Walty is somewhat running away with this.
He is, and that's probably because no one else is doing much. So, you know what I mean? It's not
right.
Yeah.
Without Walty, this team could have 0 points.
Yeah.
However, as other people hopefully improve throughout the season, I expect players to catch up with him because there will be people that make an impression.
Yeah. Yeah, Liz just said that we should just vote for the Steel Army. I don't disagree. Shouts in the chat for Walty saying that that's no reason not to give him points right now. Yeah, I'm gonna. I guess I'll be the tiebreaker. We'll say Garcia first.
I'm talking to Mertz.
You're talking to Mertz?
Yeah.
Josh, are you talking to Mertz?
Yeah, I think Mertz this time around. Because I don't think Walty or Mertz, either one of them stood above each other. I think they both did what they needed to do, and they both put in a Herculean effort. It's just maybe I am being a little bit biased towards Mertz because I feel like we've given Walty that pass a couple times now where it's like, well, no one else did anything, so we gave it to Walty. And I feel like Mertz deserves that too because he has been also doing a really good job of just kind of putting in the work.
Yeah. Okay, so we're saying Garcia at first, Suber at 2, Mertz at 3?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So that is what we think. Obviously, let us know what you think. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? We love the feedback. Guys, as I mentioned, the next match is against Detroit in the Jägermeister Cup. We will be at Detroit for this one. last away game before we come back home to play on the new turf. I think, like I said, it's against North Carolina, quickly followed by the NYCFC game. I did not talk to you guys about NYCFC. Josh, you excited about that one?
Super excited. It's a lot happening real fast. Like these Open Cup games, once we get a MLS team drawn at home, it's like, oh crap, this is real. Okay, this is like red team go. Like we have to figure out what we're doing. We got like this is going to be one of those giant games again. I hope it is at least. I feel like it should be. Some people are disagreeing with about this with me. Do you think the Crew coming to Pittsburgh is a bigger deal than NYCFC coming to Pittsburgh?
I feel like based on our history, and I feel like the fact that the Crew have been around like forever, I felt like the Crew game was probably a bigger game. It was also around later, so there was almost more weight on it. But the fact that NYCFC is coming here, it's Man City's contingent in the MLS, like that makes it a big game to me. Like if it was between NYCFC and I don't know, Minnesota or St. Louis, like I'd prefer NYCFC. If you gave me the choice between NYCFC and Crew, I'd probably take Crew again, but maybe I don't know. Steve, where do you stand on this?
No, I think the Crew is a bigger game.
Interesting. Yeah.
Both because I think there's that history, there's the relationship, there's the regional aspect of it. But I think that yes, NYCFC has been competitive in the MLS numerous times, but the Crew have been competitive recently and in the past few seasons and have been contenders for good playoff spots. And I think they're just a good organization where, and I think they are an authentically, right? Like because of their history, the first MLS team, they're an authentically American soccer club. And you said it, right? Like NYCFC is a city ownership group team. Their philosophy is different. That's not to malign them in any way, but it's just like, it's an import organization versus a homegrown Midwest working class city that's similar to Pittsburgh in some ways.
Josh,
go ahead.
Did you ask this just so that we would say nice things about the Crew?
No, but thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Sure. But the reason I asked this was because I agree with everything you're saying. I do think, like personally, not just because I'm a Crew fan, but also just because I do think, the Crew being one of the first teams, like you're talking about, and all that is a big deal. But I think the layperson, the regular Yinzer Pittsburgher guy, whatever, like the family, they will hear NYCFC and think this is a bigger game. Because
they can hear that and be wrong. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
But also, the people who aren't coming to games normally, like let's say some Euro snobs who don't want to come to Hounds games, they hear NYCFC, they automatically think of Man City, so they're automatically okay. Premier, oh, this is cool. This is a bigger team. It's New York, and in general, I feel like a lot of people feel like a New York team is a bigger deal. They're a more wealthy team. They've had bigger names signed in their history, their short history, but their history, they've gotten that retirement league stamp because they had some bigger European players signed to them. So like all those things combined, it makes me think that this could be a bigger game as far as like tickets sold, excitement from the city. And I don't think the city knows the difference between the round 32 or the round, they don't freaking know. They just know, oh, it's in a tournament and we're playing an MLS team. So I feel like this game has the opportunity to be bigger in the eyes of Pittsburgh. The only thing I didn't think about was the regionality of it and the rivalry part of that in other sports with Ohio. So like that you're right, that could have an effect, but overall, the fact that it's a New York team and it has connection to Man City, I feel like will make this a bigger game for Pittsburgh.
So listen, momentum is everything in sports. So a lot can change between now and when we actually play them. But if we were to play them this week instead of 2 weeks from now, do you think we actually win this game, Josh?
No.
I mean,
it's going to be an awkward Dogs of War.
I'm just saying, I wanted to open it up game. I don't have to do a Dogs of War for the thing is, like, if I also don't know if they take it seriously, because the fact
That's
that
the
they
thing. Yeah.
they're on the cusp of like not making the playoffs in MLS. Like, it's early in the season, obviously, so that can change, but it's still like they're not doing great in the regular season. So if you're not doing great in the regular season, do you actually take the Open Cup seriously? Because you kind of have to worry about that. Or if you're bombing out the regular season, which they're not, but they were bombing out the regular season, then sure, you have nothing to lose, because it's not like you're going to be even worse. So I feel like they're just in the right spot right now to maybe not take this game as seriously.
Yeah. Steve, do you agree?
Sure. What I think about is, do they prioritize this game?
Right.
And I think with MLS teams, that is something that has always been a big question. That, I mean, an atrocious 2013 DC United team won the Open Cup, right?
Yeah.
NYCFC is not doing great to start the season. And so do they look at this as a way to earn some silverware, or do they say, no, we want to concentrate on the league and this is a throwaway game? And so I don't know how they're going to approach it. And so I think that's where I kind of look at that. Josh made me feel like so self-conscious about my view of NYCFC as a I guess I'm still a DC United fan, even though I don't kind of pay attention as much. But they're not the New York team; it's the Red Bulls, right? Like because of the rivalry with DC, right? They're the other team. It's like being a Yankees fan. They're like the Mets version of soccer in New York to me, right?
They literally play in Yankee Stadium. And they actually play in New York, unlike the Red Bulls who play in New Jersey.
But it's but 2015 when DC came, right? Like the fact that it was the first time an MLS club came to Highmark was massive. Playing Columbus in Columbus numerous times, right? Like I think maybe that's part of it as well. It's like there is an Open Cup history between Pittsburgh and Columbus. And what was that, 2019? A bunch of us went out and watch the game in Columbus. But then you look at 2 years ago and seeing how, I think just like the regionality with New England being a big club historically, right? And then beating Columbus and then going and playing Cincy. Like those are games that I think for me are meaningful, big games. This one just doesn't have that same feel to me going into it. So
we will see if that changes. As I mentioned, the game is about 2+ weeks away. We have a Jägermeister Cup game to play against Detroit, another regular season game against North Carolina on the new turf. So we will see how that all goes down. And then we'll have Man City after that. So lots of new stuff to come. We know that the Riveters are going to be starting playing soon as well. So lots of great stuff coming your way. Guys, anything else for this episode before we get out of here?
Quick story from the away game, from the away trip. Halftime, I don't know if they talked about this on Hounds or not, but at halftime they had an egg hunt where they just threw a whole bunch of eggs out on the field and had all the kids go after the eggs. Well, we were egging on the kids in front of us, and first we kept on doing a fake countdown because they were you can't go yet, can't go yet. So we're 3, 2, 1, and all the kids run out. They're all no, not yet. So that was fun. But then after that, we started taunting a little bit, and we got the kids to start throwing the eggs at us. So we have all these kids just chucking eggs into our stands, and the eggs have little toys in them, so they're giving away their toys. I don't know, I thought that was hilarious. Just they're no, we just want to throw crap at them. They're jeering us. So yeah, we got lots of eggs thrown at us, and the whole Steel Army then had little necklaces on with Easter bunnies and
well done.
That's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's the high note I wanted to end on here.
Right,
so
there you go.
Good on you, Josh. Thanks, everybody. We will be back with more Hounds and Riveters content for you very, very soon.
See ya.
Later.